Hello, my name's James. I'm a portrait photographer from Portsmouth in the UK. Welcome to my studio and welcome to this, a spooky Halloween themed shoot. We're going to show you today how we build and how we set design a Halloween themed shoot with our amazing model Zoe here. Say hi, Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
Have a look at Zoe's hands here. Come here, come and have a close look at Zoe's hands. So you join us, as you can see, halfway through this shoot. This is one of our takeover shoots where we give up as my camera person nearly falls over a box that's just been delivered to us 10 minutes ago. This is a takeover shoot where we give up our studio for a half day or a full day to design brand photography for different people in business. And Zoe wants to produce a series of Halloween themed pictures for Halloween. So we've taken her advice, we've taken her feedback, we've taken the ideas that she wants to do, and we've collaborated with her over the last week about what ideas we can bring to the table. And we've come with well, how would you describe it?
I don't know.
Like a nun.
A nun. Oh, how am I?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm dressed as a nun. Yeah.
Yeah, she's dressed as a nun. So we're basically doing nuns at Halloween. Halloween is funny for like fancy dress, I think, because anything goes, doesn't it? So you can just do anything, which is not. So we're doing a nun shoot here. So we've built a design around this cloth backdrop, got this mottled brown backdrop to give it sort of like an antique feel to the pictures. We've dropped some candles down here as part of our set design. They're on some blocks underneath the blanket here. These candles, they're not candles that you can light up with flames or anything like that. They're all perfectly safe, just run off of batteries there, which is cool. All the browns working in here, and having a look at Zoe's outfit as well, picking up not only on the reds but on the yellows as well. So red, yellows and browns all working in a fairly analogous colour scheme. Everything's sort of working there, especially with the red lipstick as well. And everything else in that outfit is black and white, so nothing really is contrasting against that in terms of the colour harmony of the picture. So we want to try and build up a Halloween style picture. For this shoot, I've employed, which is something I very rarely do in studio at all, I've employed a tripod, which is down here. So we've got a very low tripod down on the floor with my Canon R6 with a 24 to 105 f4 lens. As usual, we're at the back of the studio here. We place the camera on a tripod so that we know that the images are going to be the same every time that we shoot them. So there's not going to be any sort of difference in terms of the position. Every single shot in this series of images is going to be in the same place, and that's going to be crucial, and you're going to find out in about 2 minutes time why. For this first shot, I've set up on a boom arm a beauty dish, single light portrait, kept it nice and simple, flash coming through, all set up, all ready, all metered to go. If you want to learn more about one light photography, have a look, nofussmust.com. Have a look at the one light workshop there, where we show you 10 different ways to light portraits with just one light. Angled 45 degrees down, so similar to where we were with Rembrandt lighting, but instead of having the light to the side, the light is right in front. And we're going to do that now. If you just purchased your first flashlight, perfect workshop for you to get involved. Zoe's going to give us a Halloween-y style pose here. She sort of looks down towards us. I don't need to do much here, just a bit of back button focusing. We're on the facial focusing there. Looking straight back towards me. 3, do a couple, 2 and 1. There we go, perfect. So if we come over to the screen here, we can see that we've got a very, very dark portrait here. Against the brown background, we've given ourselves a little bit of space either side just to crop in there. But the main thing I would notice about this is there's two things. The light's very high, which has given us really dramatic shadows coming down, really deep contrast in this photo, which makes it look more sinister, makes it look more Halloween-y. Okay, that's the first thing to notice. The second thing to notice is that we can't see that the candles are lit up in the exposed picture here that's coming through the candle. ISO 100, shutter speed of 1/60th of a second, and aperture of 6.3. So how do we get them visible? Well, we can open up the aperture, we could take a longer exposure, but it's going to pick up on some of the ambient light in the room. It's going to be troublesome trying to marry up the flash with that ambient light as well. We can't see it because there's no ambient light coming into that camera. If we were to take a picture here without any flashes, let's just try that. We're going to take the transmitter off the top of the camera here, and we're just going to take that same picture again. 1, 2, 3, go. And we can see coming through absolutely nothing. a black space, the tiniest of candle lights there in the distance there, that main one just showing up, but not a lot else showing up there. So this is why I've put the camera on the tripod, because I want to marry up the light between the two, these very weak LED candle lights and the flashlight above. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch this camera mode here to aperture priority. We're going to keep it at 6.3, but we are going to move that ISO up to a point where we can get an exposure of around about half a second. And we're looking there just shy of around about ISO 3200. Let's just take that shot there. Zoe doesn't need to do much on this one. It's a little bit light on that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that ISO down just a couple of stops. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to drag my exposure compensation down by 2 and a bit stops, 2 1/3 stops there in that exposure compensation. And we're just going to take this shot here at ISO 1000, aperture priority 6.3. It's brought me down to a 30th of a second, which I know is going to be fine. I know there's not going to be much camera shake anyway because we're using the tripod, and we'll take that shot there. And what we've got is a slightly underexposed image where we can see the candles now lit up. Now later on, when we process the final image here, we'll be able to layer those candles over the top of the image that we shoot and blend them in Photoshop later on so that the candles come through into the picture, and it's going to be an easy blend because we know that we haven't changed the angle, we haven't changed the focal length, and we haven't changed the direction of this camera and the way that it's pointed, so they should just lay right over the top of each other perfectly. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to reset our camera back to where we were, back onto manual settings, ISO 100, 160th of a second, and f6.3, and we're going to put our transmitter back on the top of the camera. There we go. Just take a quick test shot, make sure that that beauty dish is still firing off, which it is, and we're still getting, there we go, lovely shots there of our blood-stained hands over the top, which is great. Now, I want to add a little bit more sizzle to this steak. I want to make it look even more sort of Halloween-y, even more horrific, even more demonic, which is words, yeah, words it's so nice to hear. So what I've done is I've set up a second light. This is going to be a 2-light setup. This is the Elinchron 1 over here, one of the Elinchron wireless series. So it's got a battery pack in it. It's fully chargeable via a C port, really, really easy to charge there. And this is going to be my background light here. So I'm just going to bring it in and we're just going to use it as a bit of background light. Now, the thing about this background light, and the interesting thing about it, is that there isn't much distance between Zoe and the backdrop here. If we actually come around and have a look, you'll see that she's sort of maybe a meter off of that backdrop and where this light is going to hit. And what that means is normally that would be a bit of a problem because some of that background light would be, you know, coming round. Some of that background light would be coming round and hitting our subject, but at Halloween, that's not a problem. We're just looking for red images. We're looking for images that have punch and have power. Let's just take that one there. So now that red light coming across is isolating Zoe perfectly there against the red backdrop. We've got a bit of split lighting here where we set the background at different levels. So the red light is really only hitting this right-hand side and it's hitting that side first. So that side there is a bit redder than the other side there where we don't have so much red light. So we can amend that by bringing that light even further back here and having it hitting not only both sides of the background, but also Zoe as well. And we'll see how that affects the picture here. 3, 2, 1, go. See benefit of using the tripod there. I'm not having to get up, I'm not having to get down, going to shoot that, that's fine. So everything now, there's less of a direct red hue on that background, but there's more red in Zoe there. And I think just for the last shot here, and everything in photography is all about little changes to lights, little movements. Everything has a cause, everything has an effect in photography. And these causes and effects are all taught in our online training courses at nofussmus.com. We're just going to move our beauty dish, our main light, our key light, turn it about 45 degrees that way, and we're going to move it over here. And we'll see what effect that has on the final picture. I want to really look red and demonic as well, so we're just going to add a little bit in there. Let's have a look. Go into your pose there. Now the beauty of this is, I'll just turn off this light here so you can see. With the modeling lights, we can see where that light is falling. So we should have a rough idea as to how this finished image is going to look when we finally take it. And what we're left with here, we just make one very tiny change here. Going in nice and close here. 3, 2, 1. Change the pose. Lift the chin. Change the legs. Looking down towards the hands there for me if you can. That's good. Looking up straight ahead of you towards the wall over there. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. From a lovely range of images we've got there now, with control over a 2-light setup, but also knowing that in our back pocket, we've got these lights down here, this little bit of set design, this little bit of set dressing that adds narrative to the final image. We've got those exposed as a raw image because we always shoot raw, so we can always bring back in detail. And we know that it's been shot from the same position because we've been shooting on a tripod all the way through. So our photoshopping afterwards is going to be a lot easier and a lot more streamlined. The end product should give us a balanced image with nice balanced light throughout, but dramatic lighting where we've understood the procedure and the process of using one light at a time. Because the process of building up sets like this, we could get super complicated with this. We've got gobos, we could put crosses on the background. We've got fill lights we could bang in. We've got little spotlights to give us really, really dramatic lighting on the face. But the process of understanding that is understanding how to use one light at a time and how that light affects the next light when it's added to the scene. And really, we're trying to make sure that everything that we add as a photographer in terms of light in a studio setup, everything that we add has a cause and has an effect, and it's been done for a reason. We're not just throwing lights here and there, throwing gels in here and there to see what works. We're doing something with a cause and effect that all comes back to the first initial reason why our clients have contacted us in the first place and the initial collaboration that we agreed on together in terms of where the finished piece is going. Zoe's been very patient because she sat here covered in blood. Thank you very much indeed. Say goodbye, Zoe.
Goodbye, Zoe.
Hey, there it is. If you want to learn more about how to do excellent lighting and really elevate that photography game to the next level, if you've always had a flash gun in the drawer and you don't know how to use it, or you've not been bold enough to take it and do creative things with it, then you can go to nofussmust.com. and our One Light workshop will tell you the basics of how to use your first flashlight, how to use a flashlight and create 10 completely different images. And we've got our 2 and our 3 light workshops up there as well when you want to build and create sets just like this. And we're going back to my favourite lighting setup, which is this: a Rembrandt to the side here coming down onto the face is our key light, and our fill light from above, providing a nice flattering light from above to fill in some of those shadows on the Rembrandt shadow side of the face. So the first lighting setup we're going to be utilising is what I call studio flat lighting. If you arrive at a session and you're a little bit nervous, you don't know what to do, this is a good safe lighting source that's going to give you even flat lighting utilising both lights. Thanks very much for watching. As Zoe says, you've got to like and subscribe. Go on, Zoe.
Bye.
Like and subscribe. All the best.